Hello everyone, my name is Tima. Welcome back to the Race Edit, and if you're new here, welcome to the Race Edit and welcome to a new episode. I am back. I feel better. I feel great. I'm not sick anymore, so we can get right into it. I'm so sad that I wasn't able to do a Miami Grand Prix race review because that was such a good race and I was just so sick. I was like, it's just not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. So once this video drops, it will officially be race week again. We are going into our triple header, starting off with Imola and then Monaco, and then I want to say Spain. I have to double check that, but that's what I'm sticking with, and I think it's correct. But I thought this would be something that I could do to spice things up a little bit. Something that's just been on my mind a little bit, and I thought, hey, what better time to post a hot takes video than today, right? I have a lot of hot takes, which is unfortunate, but I thought I would just do five. There's at least five that I wrote down, and if anything else pops up in my head, then I will say them. But for today's video, I have five, and I'm going to stick with my five, unless the sixth one comes out of nowhere. I don't even know which one I want to do first as my hot take. Okay, so these hot takes, they're things that have been sitting on my mind for a while, and some of them are in jest. Some of them I'm like, maybe there's some truth to that, but they're my hot takes, you know? And if you have any hot takes, feel free to bring them up in the comments down below. This is specifically Formula One fan hot takes, not hot takes on the sport itself, which I could do another video on that, but this one is Formula One fandom hot takes, I guess is the best way to word it. So let's just jump right into my hottest takes for Formula One fans, and please don't jump me, y'all. So my first one is Formula One may be the pinnacle of motorsport, but it's not the only motorsport out there. And sometimes, honestly, it's not even the best when it comes to racing competition. And when a driver leaves Formula One to race in another series, sometimes, not even sometimes, they aren't racing down, especially when we're talking about the likes of IndyCar and WEC and, there's others, even Formula E. There's still high level racing, high level competition, high level stakes, and I think that sometimes fans of Formula One, which I do this too. I'm guilty of this too. Is we are very proud of our sport, and there is no other better racing series than Formula One. If you're a Formula One fan, I'm guilty of this too sometimes. However, you do need to branch out. I'm sorry. Like, there's some great racing going on out there, especially if you're a fan of a team that's not doing so well in F1. You can go to WEC and they're doing amazing. Let's talk about Ferrari. Let's talk about Alpine, for instance. Like, there are other series out there that just produce such great racing. And a goal of mine on this channel is to start covering more of those. I really want to cover some more Formula E, and I really want to cover some more World Endurance Championship racing as well. And maybe this is just me letting it be known that I will be watching other series and not just Formula One. Because again, it's not the end all be all of motorsport. It's a great sport. I watch it as my job. Like, this is what I do. I watch Formula One all the time. I'm obsessed with Formula One. But there's a world of motorsport out there that I think a lot of Formula One fans are missing out on because we're so stuck in our Formula One bubble, which is a lovely bubble to be in. But sometimes it's okay to branch out. Formula One, like I said, it's the pinnacle of motorsport, but it's not the only motorsport series out there. All right. My second hot take, and this one might get me into some trouble, but I am standing by it. This is the one that made me want to make this video to begin with, but I have to let it be known. Formula One drivers are not your friends. You don't know them. No matter how much you interact with them online or how much they're online interacting with their fans, you don't know them. You don't know their personalities. You don't know their wants. You don't know their likes. You don't know their dislikes. You only know what they want you to know. Even if you think you know a Formula One driver, I promise you, you do not know them. Even if you've met them at a meet and greet and you've had great conversation, again, you don't know them. This is their professional personality that you're seeing. This is the personality that they bring forward because this is their job. And it's something that is quite hard. And this is a hot take that's not just limited to Formula One. This is a hot take this is a hot take that is overarching to all fans around the world of everything that they're a fan of when it comes to sports, when it comes to media and entertainment. It's not just limited to Formula One, but it's so hard because obviously these drivers, part of their business is making sure that they have fans that can support them. And in doing that, you have to show a piece of yourself. But this is a piece of yourself that is curated for the media, for us to consume. And it can get lost sometimes when you're interacting with someone online, but you don't know them. You don't know them. You don't know their friends. You don't know their families. You just don't know them. And this is something that comes up a lot when it comes to the Formula One fandom because there's a lot of fans online that support these drivers and these teams. And it feels like, you support your drivers so hard. You buy all of their merch, you support all of their little businesses. And it feels like you know them, but you don't. And that's why it's so easy for people to get disappointed when not just Formula One, but when a person that they're a fan of does something that they don't agree with because they're like, how could you do this to me? But again, we don't know them. And I think that needs to be really, really drilled into us as fans, as people, is we need to let go of this notion that we think we know these celebrities because we don't. We don't. And it'd be really good for people to remember that. It would be really good for people to remember that. And when we're on that, let's go into my third hot take. And I've said this before. I'm pretty sure I said this in my Brocades video about us needing to let go of Brocades. Great video. I will link it right here. You should watch it. But the notion that teammates need to be friends, we need to get rid of that. It's all for PR. It's all for PR purposes. And for PR purposes, I understand it because each team relies on their drivers to get along. That is a fact. Teams do rely on their drivers to get along to maximize as much points as they can during a race weekend. However, while Formula One is a team sport, it is also a selfish sport, and it's really about being better than your teammate because they are your biggest competition as a Formula One driver. And there's just no way that you can be friends with the person that's your biggest competitor. There's no way you can be cordial with them, you know? But they cannot, you can be cordial with them, you can do team activities together, you can have a laugh, but that person's not your friend. Because once that car gets competitive and you're fighting for WDC, the idea of friendship goes out the window, i.e. Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. I love a good friendly competition, don't get me wrong, but I think this ties in with my point that I just made about us not knowing Formula One drivers. We don't know who they are. The notion that these drivers are friends and that they ride for each other, and it's so sad when a driver leaves one team to go to another team because that means that their friend that they had such a great relationship with they're no longer going to see that pairing. It's a business. Formula One is a business. They can be friends after they retire. But during the series, I'm sorry. That friendship that you thought was there was curated for the media. I'm sure they had a great relationship. I have a great relationship with my colleagues. I think they're great. We have a great laugh together. Do I hang out with them outside of work? No. And I'm sure a lot of people can say that. I'm sure a lot of people can agree with that. And I know it's a hot take, but these drivers aren't friends, and it's a harsh reality that you need to remember in order to be able to actually enjoy the sport that you're watching. And on that, I skipped a really good one. I skipped a point. Sometimes we really do need to focus on the sport and not the external factors. Don't get me wrong. I love a good bit of rivalry. It is what makes the sport exciting. It's what makes it fun. It's what draws us. But I think, and this is for a lot of online fans, because there are Formula One fans who watch Formula One who are not online, who I speak to, and we have a great conversation. But I think sometimes if you're online and you're watching the sport, I do think we go a little bit too far with our think pieces, and I will get into that. But I do think sometimes it would be good to just watch the sport for what it is, which is cars racing on a track. There's not always a conspiracy, which is really ironic of me to say with everything that's going on in the sport right now with Alpine. But sometimes it's just pure racing. Not everyone's out to get your driver. Not the team is not always out to get your driver, so their second driver could be the number one. Sometimes you just need to really appreciate the sport for what it is, which is healthy competition. And yeah, just because you may be on the losing side doesn't mean everyone's out to get you. Doesn't mean everyone's out to get your driver. Doesn't mean there's sabotage. It's just the name of the game. And again, I've said it before, Formula One is a business, and they're going to prioritize the one who's bringing in the most points for the team. This goes for every team and every driver. And I just think a lot of us would be a lot happier if we just watched the sport for what it is, car racing. Unless you're an engineer and you're watching it for the cool aerodynamics and stuff, which is a big part of the sport. And it's a part that I really enjoy. I'm not an engineer, but I just really think it's so cool how these cars work. I think it's fascinating, and I would love to go to a seminar about all of that. But hey, I just think we need to watch the sport for what it is. And my final hot take, my fifth hot take, is for all the F1 purists out there, the ones who've been watching from childhood, the ones whose parents have watched Formula One and they brought them up on Formula One. I understand the need to not want to change and the need to keep things the way that they used to be. But what did I just say? Formula One is a what? A business. And as a business, it needs to make money. So, if the sport needs to make TV shows, if they need to host live events, if they need to cater to celebrities, I'm sorry, that's just part of the game that they have to play in order to keep the sport afloat. It's the reason why we have things like F1 TV and we're able to watch our sport without any commercial breaks. We're able to watch races from 1975. We're able to watch all these cool talks. I almost said TED Talks, so they might as well be all these cool interviews without having to pay for ads for a friendly price of how much is that on TV? Like $17.99, I think, or something like that a month. I can't remember. But you're paying that much for the entire world of F1. And yeah, change sucks. But I'll take it. I'll take the TV shows and the live events. Now I'm gonna do a review on The Seat with Kimi Antonelli on Netflix and WhatsApp because I haven't watched it yet and I have thoughts on that, but I don't want to say thoughts on something that I haven't watched yet. So I'm gonna watch it and I might do a review on it. That was actually supposed to be today's video, I'm not gonna lie, but things got a little bit busy. But yeah, I get it. When F1 caters to Hollywood and you see all these stars on track and you're like, well, your fans of the sport can't even go to a race because they're $1,000 plus, it sucks and it's really irritating, and I will make a video on that. However, I also understand the need. It's all part of marketing. It's all part of what brings eyes to the sport. It worked. Formula One is growing in America, which is what they have been aiming for a very long time. So it worked. Liberty Media coming in and making Drive to Survive, it worked. It brought so many fans in, which again brings money into the sport. So, I think there's you're allowed to have some ag over it. You are. But you also need to understand that with growing times, with the economy, with everything in between, that things need to move, and one of that, and if that means you have to cater to things that may not have always happened previously, well, so such is life, right? I mean, again, a lot of these things that we're seeing aren't new, they're just heightened, they're just brought to bigger highs. That is jarring for a lot of people, but again, it is what it is. So those are my hot takes. What are yours? I have a few other hot takes. I might do a video on driver hot takes that I have. That feels, you see, the thing, I don't like to do mean videos because I feel bad, and that's not who I am to make a mean video on drivers, especially again with people I don't know. I only know so much. I do like doing driver histories, so I might do something like that. But I think I'm gonna do a video on my hottest takes of Formula One itself as a sport and not just fan behavior. But those are the biggest, you know, hot takes I have when it comes to Formula One fans. If you have any, let me know. There's a few that I have in my little noggin that I haven't wrote down because I was just like, enough is enough. But that's all I have for you all. It is race week. We are going to Imola. Ferrari, please. Ferrari, please. That's all I gotta say. Thank you all for sitting here and watching this. If you're listening to the audio, thank you for listening to the audio. And I will see you all in the next one. Thank you and have a wonderful, wonderful day.